All right, here we go.
Yeah, man.
Ready to do this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? How you guys doing tonight? What we're gonna do is take a few minutes and probably walk around the store a little bit. I'm over here at Eastern Outfitters, and tonight is going to be off the chain. I'm really super excited about this. We have a guy that's literally famous. You could Google him
No doubt.
and look him up, man. This is really exciting, and it's an honor to have him on our channel. It really is. It's amazing. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to hang out a few minutes and kind of talk, maybe talk some kayaks a little bit, talk about Eastern Outfitters for just a second before we get rolling with Captain Lee over there. But I talked to him a second ago, and he was we're going to do it over in front of the MirrOlures, but we got to get him a seat over there.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, no doubt.
Anyway, so what's new in the Pelican world, Dustin?
Well, last time
introduce yourself, Dustin. I don't know
I'm
if you-
Dustin. I work at Eastern Outfitters. I'm in charge of all the kayaks, camping stuff. So,
Cool.
But we got a tournament coming up. Have you heard of Dean's Dream charity tournament, Surf
Okay.
City? Yeah, we're sponsoring that, and we're gonna be giving away a kayak in their raffle.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna be doing a Sears Landing. So if y'all can make it out to that,
Yeah,
that'll be
awesome.
good. Yep.
Good deal.
I don't know if there's gonna be kayaks, paddling, fishing in it or not, man. We might need to get out there and show them how it's done.
Yeah, that's right. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Dustin, you kayak fish. What kind of kayak do you have?
Pelican. I got 2 Pelicans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did y'all hear how he said that? He was proud about that name, buddy. That's what
Yeah.
I'm screaming.
Yep.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm really excited about what Pelican's doing, man. Coming
Yeah.
out with that pedal drive.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Mhm.
Yep. So
Yep. That's
hopefully they'll be in here in February.
yeah.
I'm gonna try to get them as early as I can.
Yeah. So February, March time frame, something like that, is about when it's going to be coming out. But
Yep.
I'm definitely getting my hands on one. I know for a fact. Y'all know, y'all see, I got a Hobie compass right now. Not gonna get rid of the Hobie compass, but the wife needs an upgrade.
Right? Yeah.
So
Maybe she'll get the Hobie. You'll
That's
bring the
that's what I was
Pelican.
gonna say. She'll upgrade to the Hobie
Yeah.
and oh, Roger Jones is on. What's up, Roger?
Where's he at? I thought he was gonna be in here.
Yeah, what's up, man? Thought you were coming in.
Oh,
But anyway, so when you come in to Eastern, you got some gear over here. Check it out. I don't know how much you guys look at the use the Railblazers, but this product right here, man, this is the deal. Their cell phone holder. This is the cell phone holder that I've been using, and this thing works great for the price. It's like 35 bucks. But man, your phone is rock solid in that. Funny thing is, I was fishing with Jackson Joe and Yexie Carl Banks over in Turkey Creek, and I was standing up in my kayak, and I was drifting, but I was drifting backwards.
Yeah.
And I'm used to the big tuna a little bit, you know. I'm still kind of used to that. And I guess I hit something and it stopped the kayak. And I don't know how many of you guys have ever done this, where you're drifting backwards and you hit something, you're going down.
Yeah.
And in the big tuna, I could kind of just fall into the seat, but it didn't work the same in the compass. I hit the seat and rolled over and went into the water real quick.
Yeah.
But anyway, my phone was in that carrier, and it hung in there.
move.
I actually broke my paddle,
Yeah.
but the phone stayed in there. So
Dang.
a lot of good stuff with that. But anyway, we giving everybody just a couple minutes. Got some more people on. So as you come on, man, say hey. I may have been missing it or whatever. Let me see if I can go back. All right, so there we go. Good deal. Pro Tangler, all right. Glad to see you on there. He's laughing. You saw that? That was about 6 or 7 smiley faces
Yeah.
with the crying tears, crying laughing about me falling out. I hear you. We laughed too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the GoPro wasn't running whenever that happened, you know. But anyway, hello from Earl's Inlet. Cliff Nagel, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Wes Lovelace, what's up, Wes? How's that summer grind? He said, man, we're making it happen, buddy.
No doubt.
And Roger says, I've done the same thing. Hold on. He said, I've done the same thing. If you're not falling out of your boat, you're not fishing enough. Amen.
Right?
Go ahead and preach that.
Yeah.
You ever fall out of your kayak before?
Yeah. Yep.
if you've been in the kayak long enough and you fished it all, man, you're gonna get wet.
Yep. Worst one was I left my anchor down. And I was paddling in a lake and it hit a tree stump and caught it. I went straight up in there and back.
No kidding.
Yo, I didn't know what happened. I thought it hit something. That's the worst one I've had though.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. When I first started kayaking, I had a little skinny little kayak. No, I didn't know what I was doing, and I went swimming in that several times trying to stand up in it. But anyway, let's roll over here and introduce Captain Lee and get this thing going, man. I'm so excited about tonight. This is going to be. I'm going to encourage you, whether you're on here live with us tonight or whether you're watching this video later on. I want to encourage you right this minute to get you a notepad out. This will be worthy. This will be note take worthy. So anyway, let's make our way over here. This is gonna be so cool. What's up, Noah?
Hey,
What's going on in the fish hut?
nothing much. Trying to find the new MirrOlures.
New MirrOlures. Good deal. Yeah, no, right? If I was serious about it, I'd have one of those holders that like keeps it from jumping around or whatever. All right, guys, I want to introduce you to Captain Lee Parsons. We are so honored, honestly, buddy, to have you on here, and don't be shy. It's all good. But what I want to do is I want to take a second and let Captain Lee introduce himself to you.
Well, he's already told you who I am, but I've been doing this 23 years full time. Been around all this area my whole life. Grew up trout fishing with MirrOlures and doing stuff like that. And just learned a lot. Been blessed to fish with a lot of great people that know how to fish MirrOlures, and took what they showed me and kind of did my own thing with it, and discovered braid and decided there's got to be a better way than 6-pound test, and came up with a braid, and here we go. So.
Here we go. It's really cool, guys. Captain Lee's being modest, and no, we did not plan ahead to wear the same color shirts. It's just great minds think alike, okay? Okay, so here's the deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stay off camera for most of this, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here, and the whole idea tonight behind the topic, and one of the reasons that, Captain Lee's with us, he's a wealth of knowledge about the subject that we're going to talk about tonight. But here's what's so interesting. This honestly for me is a lure that I struggled with. I heard so many people catching fish with this lure, and we're talking about the MirrOlure, talking about the MirrOlure, and this is a lure that I struggled with. And last year, I just decided I'm going to learn how to catch fish with this thing. And what I did was I tied it on, and I made myself not tie anything else on. And I just fished and grinded and tried and tried and tried, and slowed down and slowed down and slowed down, and finally started catching fish. Now, I am by no means an expert. I am a total rookie with this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get started talking about MirrOlure, and first thing we're going to do is maybe ask Captain Lee, what makes you pick up a MirrOlure? What is it that you feel like, what time of year? Let's start there. What time of year do you feel like this is the best season, best time of year to get started with a MirrOlure?
I start basically in October and go right on through April.
April.
Yeah.
October to April.
And don't think about much else. I am not a grub guy.
Right.
I'd rather catch 1 on a MirrOlure than 10 on a grub. Just
right.
How I am. There's something about that thump the first time they hit it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a thump.
Yeah.
And when that big girl comes up and thumps you, you know you've got something.
And we're talking about trout.
Talking about trout. And I mean, they're not a whole lot after the first, minute of fight, but that first thump is just heart stopping. It really gets my blood pumping, and they love a MirrOlure. And you said something earlier, telling me about you slowed down. My rule of thumb is when you think you're fishing slow enough, slow down some more.
Slow down. Did y'all hear that? I want to make sure This is one of those, write this down. Because you're exactly, this is it. This was the thing that changed everything for me for catching a fish with it. He said, when you think you're going slow enough, slow down. That is probably, that's got to be one of the biggest tips.
There are times a 10 to 20 second pause is your friend.
10 to 20 seconds.
10 to 20 seconds. Now you sit there and you count 10 seconds.
Right.
It's an eternity with a lure in the water.
Yeah.
You know, you're just sitting there going for 10 seconds. And it's hard to do, but it works. Now there are times when speed kills.
Right.
There are times when you can take a MirrOlure and you go bam, bam, bam as hard as you can.
Uh-huh.
And stop. And as soon as you stop, they're on it.
Right.
But more times than not, slowing down is going to get the bites.
So let's take it from the cast. All right. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put us in a scenario. All right. One of the places we talked about before, Turkey Creek. In the wintertime, that's a place that I like to go. This is where I've been able to find some trout. And there's some places kind of way in the back. Matter of fact, I did a video called Way Back.
Way in the
What
back.
is way back?
Yeah.
Because everybody would say way back, and I'd get somewhere and they go, yeah, it's way back. It was even farther back.
Mm-hmm.
But I found way back. I caught my personal best way back.
Gotcha.
And I caught it on a mirror ding. And I was doing exactly what you said, slow. I honestly thought I was sitting on the bottom with it, to tell you the truth. But so let's take it. There's a place that I like to go in there. It's a pretty deep hole, relatively deep to everything else.
I know like exactly where it is, right?
Real
90-degree bend.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
So I get in there and I'll set up where I can kind of throw all the way across to that bank and work all the way back over across that deep hole, right? And my thoughts are that it's wintertime, the water's cold, the fish are going to be moving slow, and I pretty much feel like I got to get it right in front of this fish. And I'm thinking, to me, in my thoughts, I'm thinking they're deep. But that's why you're here. So let's go from the cast. I cast it all the way to the bank, and then what do we do from there? We cast it. How long do you let it sit from the initial cast?
Oh, 4 or 5 seconds.
4 or 5 seconds on the initial
And
cast.
then I'll twitch it once or twice and I'll let it sit.
Yep.
And I'll twitch it once or twice and I'll let it sit. I know guys that will be back to the boat, cast, back to the boat, cast, and I still haven't brought my first cast.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's how slow I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to slow down.
So in this particular hole, it's probably 9, 10, maybe 12 feet deep.
13 at one point.
13, right? Depending on what the tide's like and that kind of thing, right? How deep do you feel like you're catching the fish, or how deep do you think that MirrOlure's getting?
Honestly, you got to remember a trout, if he's deep, he looks up all
Right.
the time. Just like a flounder, they're always looking up. Where's the bait? How deep is the bait?
Right.
If the bait's within 4 feet of the surface, that's where you want to fish.
Right.
You might drop down just below the bait,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to keep it in the zone. Whatever the zone is of the bait is where you want to fish.
Another key. This is another one of those places that you write this down on your notebook. Think about this. You hear fly guys always talk about match the hatch, right? This is a match the hatch type of thing. Back there in Turkey Creek, I've been back there before in the dead cold winter, freezing cold back there. Tons, I mean absolutely tons of mullet swimming by. I mean, I honestly I didn't even realize that they did that. Tons of them. Been back there in the dead cold of winter and seen little peanut pogies. Huge schools of those peanut pogies back in there.
Yep.
So staying the same depth, and that's the thing is, from my kayak, sitting down, looking into this water, it's pretty stained back there.
It's stained, but it's clear.
Yeah, I can look down through there, and I can see these mullet, and I can definitely tell how deep they are. So being at that same depth, that's a key. If I seem surprised to y'all, I told you I'm a rookie now.
This will surprise you more. This is called a Catch 2000.
Right.
This is one of my favorite colors. This is called a PIN, which stands for pinfish.
Okay.
Trout absolutely love this lure.
Really?
This only goes 2 feet deep, so you can fish it real shallow, up to 2 feet deep. There we go. Now you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
This is a Series 3, has a rattle in it, only 2 hooks.
Is it a suspended?
It's a suspending bait. It'll only go down about 2 feet.
Okay.
Sometimes you can jerk it down and it'll pull down to about 3. But you can use this in 1.5 feet of water if you keep your rod up a little bit.
Right.
And
Whoop, sorry.
let me say something about rod handling. Most people want to hold a rod up above their head.
Right.
Get over it.
Yep.
Put your rod tip down to the water.
Right. Point at the fish.
Not even point at the fish. Let the water keep tension on your line.
Okay.
With braid, you can feel a fish breathe on it.
Yeah.
That way. If you got it up here in the wind, you'll never feel it.
Right.
If you put it down low, you'll feel it. That's old school up high. My way of thinking is down low, and down low works really well for me and my students. And by the way, I teach MirrOlures school. If anybody's interested, get up with me.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be sure to I'm gonna put a link in here of how you can get a hold exactly when I do. I'm gonna update the description. So when we're all finished, I'll be able to put it in there and make sure that people can get a hold of you for your classes in school. Let me ask you this: while we're talking about rods, what do you prefer? You 7 foot, 7.6, light action? What do you prefer?
Most people are shorter than me. Let
Right.
me put it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to offend anybody when
No,
I said
you ain't offending anybody.
But you know, there's a lot of short people, and a 7-foot rod doesn't work for them.
Right.
A 6.6 is where they need to be.
Okay.
And I used to throw nothing but 6.6 and 6-foot rods. But then I discovered I can get a little extra cast with that 7-foot rod, so I went to 7 foot. But the problem is when you're trying to keep your rod down and work the rod, 7 foot is about all you can handle.
Right.
Even for me being tall and standing on the bow of my boat, you know. But 7 foot's just a good size. It works in a kayak because you're going side to with it a lot, so it's not so bad. But I like a stiff rod.
Okay.
I don't want anything soft.
Right.
I want a reel with an extremely great drag on it.
Yeah.
And let the drag.
What's
do
your
the work.
favorite?
I throw a lot of pin battles.
Pin battle?
That's what I use in my guide service day in and day out.
Yeah. That's a
I've got-
bulletproof reel.
Yeah, it is. And the big thing is, yeah, I tear up some gears every now and then, but the drags just keep on keeping on. And they're as smooth today as they were when I first bought the reels.
Right.
You know, I've got some that's probably got 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 fish on them.
Wow.
And they're still working great.
Isn't that something?
So,
So that's see, you know, all right, so here's another thing. This is a learning point for me. Last year when I started doing my trout fishing, just about everybody in the shop, I was looking to see if there was anybody around going to hit me in the back, but just about everybody in the shop taught me into a really soft tip. And I prefer a stiff rod for everything I do because my reasoning behind it is I feel like I can work that lure better and I can feel it, what's happening with it.
if you're going to use mono, you want a soft tip because most people that use mono are using 6-pound tests for trout fishing.
Right.
And darn it, $8 a pop for a MirrOlure.
Yeah.
I don't want to use 6-pound tests.
Exactly.
You know, I got people that I teach and they'll pop them off right and left. You know, I can go through $100 worth of MirrOlures in no time at all.
Yeah.
So I'll tend to use 20-pound braid. I don't care what color braid it is.
Right.
You know, whatever you.
How about leader? You use fluorocarbon?
I use Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon.
I'm gonna let him say that one more time, real good and loud.
Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon.
Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon. Tell him why. He already schooled me on this.
I get 200 yards for about $12.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
And you can't beat it. It's a hard mason type mono.
Yeah.
So it's very abrasion resistant, and it works, you know. And
Right.
I go through a lot of leader material.
Oh, absolutely.
Drum fishing day in and day out. And I can't afford 30 yards for $14. I just can't afford it.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
dollars and cents. That doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. So just so you guys know, Captain Lee is a boat captain. He's a fish captain. He's a charter captain. And when you guys come to this area, this is the man that you need to hook up with if you're actually interested in catching fish.
It's called fishing. It's not called catching. But
That's
yeah,
right.
I prefer catching.
So,
But,
so you like to use what pound test on your
for the heavy MirrOlures, the Catch 2000s and the 52s, I'll use 20-pound leader.
20-pound leader? What about your braid?
20-pound braid.
20-pound braid
Yeah.
too. Okay.
For the little MirrOlures, like the 16 or the 17s.
MR17s.
Yeah, I'll tend to use 12-pound test with that.
Right.
For my lip baits, I'll use maybe 17 at the least.
Right.
Not because, it just makes them dive a little bit better.
Right.
But yeah, just it's what I do, and it works for me. And only thing I can do is bring in to my school and teach it. And when you leave the school, you should be able to go wherever you live and find trout.
Right.
Because it's not about catching; it's about understanding the water, and the water, reading the water is where it's at.
Right.
And if you can't read the water, you're not going to be as successful, and that's where it's all at. It's reading that water and understanding why trout sits here versus there.
Right.
And what they do on different tides. In Virginia, trout are called tide runners. And what that means is you can sit in a spot and catch trout on this tide, and all of a sudden it ends.
Right.
Well, the trout haven't gone real far distance, but they've moved with the tide. They've run with the tide.
Okay.
And the eddy you've been fishing isn't what it was, 15 minutes ago.
Right.
So the trout have moved to another location, and it's a matter of understanding what to do and try and figure out where those trout have moved to.
So let me ask you this, Captain Lee. When you're going out and you're trout fishing, spending the day trout fishing, do you feel like that the trout are hanging out where they don't have to fight current as much, but they're catching the bait, ambushing the bait that is getting pushed, or what's your ideas on that as far as what the trout are doing?
Trout are going to work around the current.
Right.
And they're not scared to get in the current and hang in the current.
Right.
And they like eddies. And the one thing people fail to remember is when they put out an anchor somewhere, their boat creates an eddy that's not normally there.
Right.
The trout will find that eddy.
No kidding.
And if you will take a lip bait, where are they? This is the old 19, I think. No, that's the new lip bait. But if you'll take this and tie it on and throw it out behind the boat, loosen the drag as loose as it will go on your reel, sit it in the rod holder. This thing sits back and it does this. It rocks in the current and it rattles.
Wow.
And it sits there and rattles and rattles and rattles. And all of a sudden you go back to fishing, you fish the bank like you're doing, work what I call the swing, which is where you throw up current a little bit. Don't even reel it, just keep popping it all the way down around. It's what you learn in school.
How about that, Roger? That's what Roger talks about a lot.
Yeah.
You call that working the swing?
Working the swing.
Working the swing.
Yep. And all of a sudden you're sitting there and you hear whoosh at the back of the boat.
Yeah.
Then you hear that, your bigger trout is going to come right there, because what's happened is those fish have come up in the current, discovered that eddy behind your boat, which is where the bait goes.
Right.
And they sit back there in that eddy, swinging back and forth in and out of the current, wait for bait to come flowing down. Or the bait to get in a little eddy and just sit there and go dee dee dee, and then all of a sudden they come up and they eat it, and that's what that imitates back there.
What a tip! I mean, guys, to me that is awesome, because they bite it to 4 o'clock on the swing. That's what Roger said. So, cool thing is, hang on one second, guys. Fighting my phone just a little bit. So, see if we can get back onto the YouTube channel here. Y'all hang tight with me.
What'd you do, knock us off?
No, we're on. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I just had to get where I could see the camera. They could still see us. I just couldn't see what was going on.
Gotcha.
So, this is something that I do a lot of times with live bait. I honestly, I do not like fishing with live bait. I fish from a kayak, and it's that much more of something that I got to mess with. I got to go out. I got to find bait. I've got the hassle of dealing with them with my kayak, and I'm limited on space. So I personally am not a fan of live bait. I know it catches fish. There's no doubt it catches fish. It's just not how I personally prefer to catch fish. But if I do have a live bait, I'll do what he's talking about. I'll be fishing with a artificial, and I'll throw a live bait behind me and just kind of let it drift or whatever. But that makes so much more sense. I never thought honestly about taking an artificial and just set it in a current and let it sit there and work. And that's why you had your drag set so light, so that it could take
it hits, when you've got it sitting in the rod holder and it hits and that rod bends like that,
right.
that's an increase of drag as it bends.
Okay.
The drag is set straight off the reel.
Right.
But when that rod bends over, the more it bends, the more drag you put on your line. So you loosen it as loose as you can go, and all of a sudden you got quite a bit of drag.
Right.
If you don't believe me, just sit a rod in a rod holder and do that one time. Reach up at the tip and pull it. Let that rod bend over, and you'll be amazed at how much drag.
How much more pressure it's actually putting on there.
Yeah.
So that's enough pressure, basically, to hook the fish. Let him get hooked.
And to give you enough time to get back there. Remember, I said I fish real stiff rods versus somebody that fishes real soft rods. It's my preference. It's how I teach in school. And I do this because people can feel the bite better with braid and a stiff rod than with a soft rod and mono. Right. I look and go, oh, you just had a bite when they're fishing mono, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, it stretches so much. There's so much stretch to the mono.
And that soft tip just absorbs so much. If you fish that stiff tip, you keep it down low, you'll feel every breath the fish puts on it. You'll feel a fish come up to a MirrOlure and fan it with its tail. Yeah. A lot of times. I swear I was feeling that last year. A lot of times what happens, or people go, ooh, I got a bump. Well, what happens is those fish come up, they smack it with their tail, and they turn around to see it. Everybody jerks when they do. Yeah. Don't jerk. Yeah. Don't be a jerk on one end waiting for a jerk on the other. Yeah, it's so hard. Let the fish come back and eat the MirrOlure. It just stunned. Yeah. It's a big key in MirrOlure fishing is don't overreact. Wait till that rod gets pulled back from you before you set the hook. Right. Give him a chance to wallow in those treble hooks. Let him have some on the side of the face and one in the mouth. Yeah. Then you got a fish, especially if it's big fish. Right. And that's what I'm after, a big fish. Yeah. I could care less about a 15-inch trout. I think now this is a point. Fishing school, really, my wife been wanting to go, y'all need to hook up with him and go to his fishing school. But this is a key. Now, this is something that people, I've been to different classes and done things in seminars and whatever. And there's people that have, I think, a school of thought of getting and catching numbers of fish. But then there's the person that's like, I will wait all day long to catch that trophy. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll paddle where I got to paddle. I'll push where I'll do what I got to do to get that trophy. And I believe there's a little bit of a different mindset. And you're thinking different. What do you think about that, Captain Lee? I think MirrOlures will catch bigger fish overall than grubs will. Right. Than live bait does. Okay. And the reason I say that is because everything eats live bait. Everything loves shrimp. Right. So it doesn't matter whether it's, one that size or whether it's one that size. Elephants eat peanuts, but everything eats that live bait. And unless you're fishing where are nothing but big fish, live bait just goes out the window quick. Right. It gets expensive. The grubs are a smaller size. It's not as big. Now, elephants eat peanuts, and you'll catch big fish on grubs. Yeah. But for the most part, you'll also catch all those little 12, 13, 14-inch fish on grubs, too. Right. MirrOlures, especially if you're using like Catch 2000s or M52s and that kind of thing, the bigger fish are what's going to be more tempted. The little fish will eat them too, but not as bad. But the bigger fish sees this slow-moving, slow-sinking big bait, and they dive on it.
Right.
And that's why I like MirrOlures.
I've heard I heard a person say one time about a trout was that they really only needed to eat like a couple, 1 or 2 mullet in a day. And you know, I have no idea about that. I'm not a scientist, you know, I don't know.
Well, the scientists tell me that a trout grows in proportion to the food source in his area.
Okay.
In other words, a 1-year-old trout can get 20 inches
Wow.
if he's got the food to eat, especially during the summertime.
Okay.
And the more he eats, it's kind of like a dolphin, the bigger he gets quicker.
Right.
And that's one reason why the trout can bounce back so fast is
Mm-hmm.
if they got the food source that they can eat, they get big quick.
Right.
So you can actually be catching 17, 18-inch fish that are actually a year old,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
Now, once you get up to the bigger fish, you know, like the 26, 28, 30-inch fish, then they're going to be older fish.
Right.
Um,
Older,
and
do you
here's
think older means wiser?
Oh, yeah. I'll give you an example of that. I know for a fact I hung the state record about 5 years ago.
Wow.
And he hit the lightest rod I had and went straight across the oyster rock because that fish knew.
Yeah.
But it came up and wallowed, and it was every bit of maybe 34 inches wadded out. I got a good look at her.
Yeah.
And she threw that MirrOlure trying to shake it out of her head and couldn't, just tail walk.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, tail walked a little bit and went right across that oyster rock.
Isn't that something? It's so funny is I was fishing for trout the other day, and actually I was fishing for drum and got surprised by a trout is what happened. And it would have been, if I'd have landed it, it would have been my personal best. I got a good look at her, and it was no more than probably 15 feet away from my kayak. I was up against the bank, and I was fishing to protect the shoreline where the wind was coming. I just kind of tucked up by this little shoreline where it was protected, just because I can see a little bit better and see what I'm doing. And I was fishing for drum, and this trout slammed it, and I mean 6 feet from my kayak. And when I saw her, I got so excited. I started reeling. I'm always thinking with a topwater lure that I got to get it in because I'm about to lose it. It's about to spit those hooks. And I'm reeling as hard as I can. And I horsed her, got her right next to my kayak. And when I reached around for my net, she shot underneath my kayak, and that was it. She was gone.
Let me tell you a little trick. When something like that happens and you get in trouble, open the bail to the reel.
Open the bail.
Don't horse the fish, just flip the bail open and give it slack. Most fish, when you do that, relax. A drum especially.
Yeah.
You get in trouble around the motor or the power pole or the front pin or whatever,
Uh-huh.
just flip that bail open and they just stop. Right
Wow.
then, it's instant that they stop. And then you can take the rod and go under, around, through, whatever you need to do, and you can get out of trouble. Trout's the same way. You can
Good
get out of
night.
trouble with it.
Man, this is the reason that Captain Lee is here tonight. I'm telling you, it's these little guys. That's a nugget. That's a nugget you take and teach your grandkids. That right there would have landed that fish. I know good and well because as soon as she shot underneath my kayak, I panicked because I'm thinking I've got my drive under there and all of that, you know. And I tried to horse her back, and I know because of how soft her mouth are, I pulled that bait out of her mouth.
Yeah. Another thing, it's like drum fishing docks.
Uh-huh.
Drum get up against the pilings, just, and everybody's sitting there trying to pull them out from the. Stop doing that.
Okay.
Just hold the rod steady. Don't pull, don't give, just hold it steady. If the drum pulls, let him pull a little bit, just hold it steady.
Right.
He'll swim right out from where he is
Yeah.
to get out of that situation. He'll get himself out of that situation
Wow.
every single time.
Isn't that
The
something?
more you horse it, the more you're gonna break it off.
Yeah, yeah. I did a video here recently, and it was the struggles of dock fishing, and it was like one after the other. Man, it was like break off, break off, break off. I even threw a fit and made it. It was pretty funny on the video.
the secret to dock fishing, number one, is 30-pound or 40-pound test.
Right.
But number two is quit horsing the fish.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: when you whatever
and tight
test
drags, real tight drags.
tight drags, when you're whatever braid, are you matching your test with your braid and your leader?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I'll use 20-pound braid and 12-pound leader.
Okay.
And the other thing with leaders, like 18 inches is it.
18
Max.
inches.
Max.
Now, what makes you do that?
No sense in doing it any further.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like throwing knots through the guides, number
Right.
one.
Yeah.
And I like to have, you know, maybe 2 foot of line out when I cast.
What knot do you use? Do you use the FG knot or
I use a uni to uni
uni?
for the braid.
Mm-hmm.
I use 6 turns on the braid and 3 turns on the mono.
Really? That's it?
That's it. And I
Wow.
clip it close.
Yeah.
And I'll pull it down snugly, but not tight. It's real good and snug on both the mono and the braid.
Okay.
And then I'll pull the braid and the mono together and let them tighten the knots.
Yeah.
I very rarely wet the mono. Wetting the mono is great, but if you wet it too much, it burns the mono.
How about
it
that?
heats it up,
Yeah.
you know.
Nugget. Yeah, I'm telling you, I can sit here and do this all night, man. I love it. Here's the deal. If you like to fish, man, I love to fish. To me, I talked about this one time with Carl, a couple guys I fished with, and Carl and Joe, and I asked them, we were talking about catching a slam. And I asked them, I said, do you think a slam is still a slam if the fish were undersized, if they were, they weren't legal? I said, is it still a slam?
Yeah.
And I said yes. They said no. And my reason that I say that is because I flat out just love to catch a fish. I just do. It's so fun to me, especially with artificial, because I fooled him.
Well, if you catch 3 different fish or 3 different species of fish,
Right.
that's a slam.
That's a slam. Thank you.
You know,
That,
I mean,
Joe, Carl, that's coming from Cpt Lee, so I don't even want to hear it. Debate is finished. So, and for all of y'all out there, anybody wants to argue with it, you can go ahead and argue with him. I ain't arguing with him. Okay, how do you fish the 52M? That's what Roger wants to know.
how do I fish the 52M? I'm assuming you're not talking about the TT version of the 52M.
Right, he just said 52M.
I use that in a fair amount of current, a little bit of depth, and fish the swing.
Fish the swing.
Fish the swing.
When you say
what I
depth,
do.
what do you think water depth?
I'm talking about 8-9 foot.
8-9 foot of water.
And then in boat basins and things like that, I'll use a TT. And the TT.
What's the difference in those?
The TT and the 52M, and I wish we had them of the same color because it's easier to see. Where did I see that green 50? All right, it's going to be hard to see in the package. TT has spots on it. Stands for tiny trout.
Okay.
If you look, you'll notice that the TT is wider in the head and fatter than the 52. In current, this will actually dive a little bit deeper, which is why we like them at the rock jetty at Wrightsville Beach.
Okay.
But in still water like boat basins and stuff, that fat profile makes it sink slower.
Oh, okay.
So you get more view per drop.
And this is the key. This is one of the things that's interesting to me. The idea and the reason behind slow, because this is the thing. We can talk about it. This is what you do, but it helps me a lot if I know why I'm doing it. So I honestly feel like the reason this is just me, the rookie, talking, and I'm saying this as a question. Honestly, the reason that I feel like I should be going slow is that's longer that my bait is in front of that fish. What do you think?
Trout's lazy.
Right.
And if you ever top water fish for trout, a trout will come up and maybe hit a top water twice.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't get it on its second go, it peels off and goes somewhere else.
Right.
Goes back down again. if you're getting multiple hits on a topwater, you're in a school of fish.
Yeah.
Stay there and fish the school.
Right.
But if you only get one, maybe two hits, it's single fish, and they're lazy. They're not going to expend a lot of energy to eat a bait.
Right. That's again nugget. Y'all need to be right. This is the stuff you write down and teach your grandkids.
That's why it's a video. You can watch it over and over again.
That's right.
Kind of like Frosty Morn.
Yeah, that's right. But it is. It's not going to expend a ton of energy to go after and get that one bait.
It's not. And the slower you go, the easier target it is for that fish to latch onto it.
Right.
Now, when it's warm, you can go faster, but when it's cold, slow down.
Right.
And like I said earlier, when you think you're going slow enough, slow down some more.
Slow down. You know, here's something that I'm really curious about. I don't understand. For me, what my experience has been in the last several years for trout fishing, trout fishing has been a wintertime thing. And you even said earlier, October to about March time frame, right? April. So October to about April. And that's definitely exactly
Now,
when I was catching.
Let me expand on why those are the months that I do what I do with trout.
Okay.
Starting in May, speckled trout start to spawn,
Okay.
which June, July are their heaviest spawning months.
Okay.
We're making babies, guys. We're making trout for next year, and
Right.
the year after that, and the year after that.
Mm-hmm.
The more you fish for them, this is my opinion, this is how I look at it. The more you fish for them and the more you take them out in the summertime, or even catch them and stress them in the heat, the more fish we kill.
Right.
And what you're killing is thousands and thousands and thousands of babies.
Yeah.
Now, I have no objection to these guys that go out and they specialize in trout 365 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's their prerogative. The DMF guys and the scientists say we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
My heart says I can't.
Right.
The other thing is the warmer it gets, in my opinion, the softer the flesh of the trout is. And you can't chill it down and firm it up.
Right.
You can't do it. Once it starts cooling down, the water temps get down to 70 and below, then the trout flesh gets firmer and is a better meat to me.
Right. Yeah.
To me. So that's why I stress from October through April.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you, I get antsy in September, and I go out there and have me a little fun in September, but I throw them all back. I don't keep them in
Right.
September. That's me.
This is what I'm curious about. Why is it that I see some places like Mississippi and Louisiana and Florida that trout seem to be everywhere all year round compared to, for me, maybe I'm just fishing in the wrong place.
Trout are everywhere all year round here.
Go ahead. Come on and preach that now.
Well, there's nothing to preach. It's just they're everywhere all year round here. Grass flats, same thing Florida has, grass flats. That's
Right.
what they fish them on. The same thing that they find up at Nag's Head, grass flats. That's where the trout are in the summertime.
Right.
If you want to go catch trout, go fish them grass flats. You know, I mean, that's where they're going to be.
Right.
They're going to be somewhere where they can run off into a deep hole. You know, a deep hole helps if you
Right.
got a grass flat, or at least a depression, maybe 7-8 feet, that they can scoot down in there if it gets too hot for them.
How about tides? Summertime versus wintertime?
I don't have the luxury of saying I want to fish this tide.
Yeah.
I go fishing. I
Right.
have clients on the boat. I go fishing.
That's it for me on the
And
kayak too.
I have places that I fish on low tides, and I have places I fish on high tides. And it's a matter of having enough stuff in your back pocket to where you can just go fishing.
Right. That's
You
it.
know, most
Time-
of
that comes
the
time on the
guys
water.
out there, they've got Saturday and Sunday to get it done.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a long time to learn all these little spots and stuff, but once you do, then your fishing increases exponentially.
Yeah.
Once you understand certain things, and these little lights and bells and whistles come on, there's always eddies. There's always oyster bars. There's always grass flats. You know, just get out there and fish, 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 fish.
Right.
Some days are better than others.
Yeah.
You know, some days a pressure system messes us up, or a rain that we've had at some point messes us up. But you just go out there and you keep fishing.
Right.
You keep fishing.
That's it. I call it grinding.
Yeah, the grind.
In my videos, I talk about grinding, and
It's easier for me in a boat to go, this area is not good, and pick up and run 10 or 12 miles.
Right.
To a whole different area.
Yeah, that's a
than
different
it
ball
is-
game in a kayak.
Yeah. you kayakers are, you know, you're,
It's a different breed.
Yeah.
You got to want to kayak fish. You really do.
you do. And I do kayak fish. I used to kayak fish a lot. And when I spend the winters in Florida, that's all I had was a kayak.
Yeah.
And I learned real quick that some days I got to paddle my butt off.
Yeah.
You know, I was fishing one river for snook. And man, I was having to paddle on some days, I don't know, 7, 8 miles.
Right.
You know, round trip, but still 7, 8 miles. You know, it was a paddle.
Somebody
Go with
just
the current one way and come back with the current the other.
somebody just asked a good question. How about trout in the surf? And do you throw your mirrordeens and that in the surf?
In the surf, I use a lot of TTs and 52s. I night fish more than I do anything else.
There's some gurus out there with that night fishing for trout.
The purple demons, the blacks are great nighttime colors. And it kind of goes against the grain. I like the old 11, that's the white with the red head on a full moon,
Right.
because it shows up black. And if you have questions about colors, hold it up to the light and tell me what color you see.
Okay. Isn't that something? Because that's what they're doing. They're looking up, right?
Yeah, most of it's black.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Sunlight too. People ask me about what color top water should I throw, and my response is throw the top water that you can see the best, because then you know whether it's working right or not.
Right.
Because the fish are going to look up, and it's usually going to be a dark color
Right.
in the sunlight or in the full moon. So it's the same kind of deal, you know, just throw what you can see. But the 52s, and I saw one that they had here earlier, and one of the big ones. I don't know where it is now. But it's purple, and at night purple's just a great color. This is the purple demon.
This is one, I got a good buddy of mine, Richard Williams.
This works real good in the surf too.
Okay. I got a buddy of mine, Richard Williams, that surf fishes at night. And he will, funny thing is, he won't tell anybody his secret about it. But there's a certain moon phase, a certain wind, a certain tide, a certain all these things that add up. And it could be 1 o'clock in the morning, it could be 5 o'clock in the morning, it could be whatever, but
That's the old 11 right there.
Yep.
That's great on a full moon.
how about
Shows
that?
up.
That's one of them from
Here's another little tidbit. On a dark day, throw the fluorescent head, because it shows up.
cloudy, like cloudy
on
dark
a,
day.
Yep. On a sunny, bright day, throw the one with the red head.
How about that?
Another little nugget for you guys. On a clear day, throw a gold side.
Clear?
A clear day, throw
trout?
gold sides for trout, yeah. On a overcast day, throw the ones, where's the hole in that thing? With the silver.
I got you.
There's one with the silver. Throw the one with the silver sides.
Clear?
On a clear day.
Clear day, silver side, gold side on a cloudy day.
Mm-hmm.
Nugget. Again,
It's just like trolling for Spanish mackerel. On a bright sunny day, I'm going to troll gold.
right?
On a cloudy overcast day, I'm going to troll silver.
Yeah.
So,
I used to love doing that. Spanish. Did a ton of that back when I had a boat. Guys, I don't know about y'all, but I'm telling you what, I have learned something tonight. I I cannot believe this, but we're going on almost 50 minutes.
I told you it runs a long time.
I mean, but I can sit here. I swear I could just sit right here all night long, man. There's just so much, you know.
All we've done is scratch it.
Yeah,
That's all we've done is just scratch the surface.
yeah. It's you know, guys. I think one of the biggest things, if you want to catch fish, is you got to get on the water. You got to put some time in on the water. Get out there. I want to encourage you right now. I'm going to put something in a link in the description to where you could be able to get in contact with Captain Lee. Guys, you can tell if you've been tuning into this video, you can tell, man, Captain Lee is a wealth of knowledge. And time on the water does a lot, but something that will knock down your learning curve a little bit is get around somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that's been successful, and then listen to what they're saying. Sometimes, honestly, for me, with fishing, I'll listen to I'll hear what people are saying, but for whatever reason, it's not comfortable, or I don't have confidence in it. But I tell you, listen to what they're saying and go work and try to do exactly what they're telling you to do, and give it time. Give it time. You know, I struggle with popping corks. If you watch my videos, you will never see me fishing a popping cork. I have never caught a fish on a popping cork.
And go look in the back of my truck, and there's 7 rods with popping corks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Yep, that's it. Wesley, you like it too, right?
Yeah, I like it.
And don't ever use more than about 17, 18 inches a leader, and bring it right on down to where you're within 8 inches from the popping cork.
Right. And
live shrimp and popping cork is the cat's meow when you're drum fishing. It just absolutely will blow your mind what happens. All of a sudden that shrimp will start jumping up and down. He'll see that popping cork and he'll hop right on the top of it. And then the popping cork disappears.
yeah.
Drum comes up, eats the popping cork, eats the shrimp.
And see, that's my problem is I don't have confidence in it because I haven't caught fish in it, and it's making me not fish it.
And I'll
But-
tell you something else. When it comes to popping corks, flounders absolutely can't stand it.
What?
On the grass flats, they have to eat a popping cork in a heartbeat.
Y'all hear that? And y'all know how much flounder I catch. And my man's talking about catching flounder with a popping cork.
Yeah, and if you want to catch a great big flounder with a popping cork, go find your pogie about hand size and put him under a popping cork about 10 inches a leader, and take a pair of scissors and just trim his tail off with a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
And every now and then just go boom.
I'm telling you what, I love it.
That rod jerked out of your hand.
Yeah. So there's a challenge now. I'm gonna have to get me a popping cork, and I'm gonna have to get out here and learn myself how to fish with a popping
I
cork.
learned how to slow down on them too, though.
You learn how to slow down on
On
those?
the popping corks also.
You feel like that was?
Yeah, I was chugging, and especially with trout, I was using the voodoo,
Voodoo shrimp.
and like the captain said, a short leader,
Uh-huh.
and I was chugging that thing, and finally somebody was like, "Says, let that thing sit."
Right. Okay, so
And
I
it took-
guarantee
and
you
it
that's
took
been
off.
my problem. I guarantee it, because I'm chugging it and nothing happened. Chugging it, nothing happened. Captain
I
Lee,
really think MirrOlures were invented for us old farts.
right?
You know, it's old guys you
Uh-huh.
know, that just don't have the energy to sit there and pop, pop, pop like you do with a grub. You know, that's the other thing about grub fishing. You work yourself.
It's
to
work.
death.
Yeah.
You know, MirrOlure, you throw it out there and you pop, eat a cracker, let it sit for a minute, take a swig of drink, pop it
I
again.
got this question. I was told. I do a lot. I'm not very patient, so I fish them too fast. I know that for a fact. I mean, I know that for years. But somebody told me when you first cast that and let it sit, that you give it a big rip. You do that, or you just
You can. I mean, you know, let the fish tell you what's going on. If they say they want it slow, give it to them slow. If they want it a little faster, give it to them a little faster. Let the fish decide what they want.
How many casts do you think you'll make? Because this is something that we talked about. Matter of fact, when we did our top water lesson last time, if our cadence, if we feel like our cadence is too fast, we slow down. But at what point? What do you know? 3, 4, 5 casts, or you know, what do you think is what causes you to change what you're doing?
Not getting bit.
Not getting bit.
Yeah, I mean,
You're expecting 2 or 3 casts. I should be catching
and
something.
here's the other thing. Trout are one of the most color ornery fish that I've ever seen in my entire life.
All right.
Today I can catch them on a BKGCH.
Right.
That's a black back, gold sides, chartreuse belly. All right, that's what BKGCH stands for. Tomorrow, they may not want anything to do with it, and all you're going to catch them on is an emerald green with gold sides.
Wow.
You know, they're that finicky on color. The conditions are virtually the same, but all of a sudden one day they just change everything, and that's when I get on my boat. Most days they're 12 rods with 12 different MirrOlures
Wow.
and multiple colors of each one tied on there.
And
And
that's all.
I'll pull into a spot and I'll make a cast and I'll work it. If I'm working the swing, I'll start at one point, I'll move down 5 or 10 feet, move down 5 or 10 feet, move down 5 or 10 feet, and work it back to the boat. If I don't get a hit, put that color up, I grab another color of the same lure, throw it out there, do the same thing. If that doesn't work, I'll put one more color of the same thing out there. If that doesn't work, I'll change what lure is on there,
Okay.
which is why I have 12 rods with 12 different MirrOlures with different colors.
Gotcha.
And then all of a sudden, you'll key in on that one color. And if you don't have but that one of that one color, and your buddy's sitting there, he's going to have his thumb up his butt going, man, I don't understand. I can't catch him. And it's because he doesn't have what you got.
Right.
And you figured it out before he did.
Yep.
You know, so you got to go with what the fish tell you. And they'll tell you every day what they want. And it's up to you to understand it and go with that flow.
The thing that's interesting, if you listen to Captain Lee and what he's saying, there's a distinct confidence that I'm in front of fish, because that's the deal. You got to be in front of fish, and figuring out where they are, figuring out why they're where they are. I think it's probably YouTube Live anyway, but they're flipping the lights off, so that means we're gonna have to wrap up. Anyway. Hey,
thanks for having me on today. I
man,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
Anytime I can help you out, just give me a shout.
Captain Lee, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. Honestly, like, it is really, really an honor to have you on here, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man. It means the world to me that you took your time out, came out here tonight, and you know, not asking for anything, just coming out here and pouring out to not only me but to everybody else that's getting to listen. So really do appreciate your time.
And if you want my phone number, it's 910-540-2464.
There you go.
Easy to remember.
There you go. So if you're coming in this area right here and you want to come and catch a fish, you need to come and get a hold of Captain Lee and get out there and make it happen. So anyway, he said, thank you, sir. Hey, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for hanging in here to the end with me. I didn't have a giveaway for this one, but we got one coming up. So you guys stay tuned. I appreciate you. Jamie Blankenship, thanks for being on here. Really, guys, from the bottom of my heart, I thank everybody for being in here and being with us. Great information, Cliff Nagel said. Thank you, sir. So big thanks from Roger Jones.
Thank you, guys.
Rod G. All right, guys. You guys take care and God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.